And I looked and I said, I know that nose. Like, it's crazy because I was like, ain't no way I know that nose.
Welcome to Convos with Creatives, powered by the Lumina Festival, a series that highlights local creatives doing incredible work in the community and overseas. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Today, we're at the Flower Bar with graphic designer, muralist, arts educator, and chair of the Bermuda Arts Council, Shanna Hollis.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Before the murals, before the leadership roles, before the recognition, when you're in your creative process, what are you usually responding to first? Is it a feeling, a story, or a responsibility?
I would say most of my creative process comes from being inspired by everything around me. Something that I've always been inspired by is Bermuda's architecture. I love the different colors that we use on our houses. I love the different motifs and the different styles that are influenced from all around the world. Even simply to things like flowers, like our flora and fauna, and being inspired by kind of that. So a lot of shapes, a lot of colors. I would say people as well, personalities, people that you see in the community have definitely inspired my creative flow.
Your motto is rebuilding community through creation, and creativity equals positivity. When did you realize your work could shape a community and not just reflect it?
I realized my work could shape a community or definitely influence Bermuda's community. I would say around 2021. I was entered in the 441 Masterworks exhibit where I exhibited my exhibition called the People's Collection. And it was meant to capture different locals and people that don't really get the highlight of maybe someone that we put on a pedestal. So it was meant to embody the everyday Bermudian. I felt like telling those narratives and stories helped me to see that I could kind of bring about this positive change or us beginning to like champion each other a bit better. I would say I realized I could have a larger impact on community after doing my mural project, the Philadelphia mural with Kendra Earls. For that mural, we were on scaffolding. So people couldn't really interact with us in the way that I was hoping to. That was my first mural, by the way. I'm kind of always wanting to invite people into this space. I'm like, come learn or come paint with us. Like, that's just my nature. So once that mural was completed, my next, I would say, commission, I definitely invited people to come and take part. And then seeing that like old Bermuda tradition of, I would say, coming together, gathering with strangers, maybe grandmas with students and things like that, different dynamics. It was just really powerful and impactful. And I feel like it was bringing back that, I would say, that community feel, that family, like it takes a village feel that we had growing up.
Speaking of a village, let's talk a little bit about influence and foundation. Your brother, Shanna Hollis, a professional oil painter. Growing up, what did watching his discipline teach you about what it truly means to live out your art?
Well, Nashan began creating at 2, but he started to take it more serious around, I would say, 7. So
young.
What he showed me, and he played football there and sports and things like that, but definitely most of his time went to his art. And it wasn't out of the fact of being forced to or anything, but just when you're passionate about something or when you find something that makes your heart beat, that's all you want to do. So he kind of inspired me to find what that is for me. But I would say just growing up, watching under him, of course you want to be like your older sibling. So I was like, Nashan, I want to learn how to do that technique that you did with the paintbrush. Or back at that day, I wanted to learn how to draw a Hello Kitty. So just something simple like that. But that was definitely the foundation for everything that was to follow.
Today, what does his support look like as you both continue to grow?
My brother's support is huge. I would say my staple color palette that I'm known for now, the reds, the yellows, the blues, he helped me come up with that. So whenever I kind of have a question about my design or aren't feeling strong, maybe about a composition or color palette, is nice to be able to have my brother to lean on. Or for example, like I'm naturally energetic. So sometimes I just shake when I do murals. So even if it's something that I need him to get like absolutely precise, like lines on a boat for the sails and things like that, it's good to be able to have his support and things like that. So he plays a huge role in the success of all of my projects today.
I love it. You studied at the Maryland Institute College of Art. How did leaving Bermuda for college sharpen your creative identity?
Ooh, okay. That's a fun question. So I would say leaving Bermuda, or at least being in the community of Maryland Institute College of Art, I would say it was a culture shock. We leave this 21-mile island. We know everybody. I would say our personalities, we're used to them, right? And then going to somewhere like Maryland Institute College of Art was something like you see in the movies. There were different groups of personalities of people and different groups of styles of artists. For example, the ceramics guys was different to the painter guys, was definitely different to the graphic designers. So I would say it was just so influential to see, I would say, other people living completely in their purpose and what that looks like, but also being accepting of that, but also expanding past what I knew of creativity. On a small island like this, sometimes is a bit challenging because, especially going through school, we don't get exposure to all the different mediums. For me, graphic design, I definitely didn't get exposure to all the different technology and software programs needed to do what I do. So even just the exposure to the materials, to the technology, and all of that was so important.
So a little birdie told me that when you had decided to go away to school and pursue your art full time, your brother was actually terrified for you. He was worried. He actually didn't see you as an artist, even though
Right.
you dabble with it a bit.
So in high school, I loved school. Like I love learning, I love academics, history, whatever. Back in that time and space, and of course, growing up in Bermuda, I was like, maybe I want to be an accountant. My friends around me know my personality and it's a bit bubbly. So they're like, girl, I definitely don't see that for you. At that time in art, I was more into photography. That's what and makeup. I started as a makeup artist and then delving into photography and advertising and putting that together in compositions. So even that, like I said, we didn't have much exposure to that. Maybe the visual arts, we had drawing, we had painting. So I really wasn't aware of the field that I kind of wanted to go into. My high school teacher directed me, but I guess Nashan was like, what in earth is this girl doing? But also, my brother and I's dynamic is interesting. He's the quiet one. I'm definitely the talkative one. So no matter what I was doing, I knew I wanted to kind of advocate for him as well. So I think just this whole process that I've gone through has allowed me to do that as well as doing it for other creatives. So yeah, it's been interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and you're far from done too.
Yeah.
So with visibility and global reach, your thesis collection, 21 Miles, was featured in Footwear News. What did that moment confirm for you, and what pressure did it add?
That moment confirmed for me that you don't have to be the best at what you're doing, just do it. Like if you feel strongly about something, just do it. Even if it like brings you joy to think of a creative project, just do it because you never know where it's going to end up. My college thesis, I ended up doing the clothing, I would say capsule, I don't know, clothing collection. And it featured like different pop arts of Bermuda motifs, kind of like in a Andy Warhol style. That was my first time sewing garments together, my first time patterning, my first time asking models to risk their lives and walk the runway with what I sewed together myself. But it was also like, even to this day, one of the happiest times I've had in my career. I love problem solving. So even just sitting in the studio trying to put these patterns together, having the models, like, do I need to add more fabric, take it away? Like, that challenge for me and doing something I couldn't do and doing it successfully, like, gave me so much strength and joy. And then, yeah, to see it published was insane. And I even got to work with the photographer, Derek Blanks, I believe that's his name, to take the photograph that was featured. And he works with all sorts of artists, musicians. So it was a big deal, further than I ever would have thought. And all the clothes stayed intact and came back. They fell apart afterwards, but they stayed intact for the runway. So all of that to
That's
say,
what you
just
needed.
do it. Like, yeah.
You've worked with Ashanti and created murals honoring Flora Duffy and UNESCO heritage sites. What does mural work allow you to say that other mediums don't?
So I would say I'm a huge person that is like, be what you want to see in the world. So what murals allow me to do is be that bright, bold, colorful presence that like sparks positivity. So it allows me to do that. But then also there's the education side, right? The UNESCO Heritage Site mural allowed me to sum up our St. George's history into this compact mural. So that allowed me to kind of tell Bermuda's history that's going to go on and on. Even when I was doing the mural, there were students nearby that didn't know some of the history that was included in there. And they was like, no way, like excited to learn all these things. Even as I was researching, I was excited to learn all these things. But I would say for me, it's the most important part is still the communal bit, like being able to bring everyone together. And a lot of people say, Shanna, how can you have other people touch your art? I think for me, the murals is kind of like having other people involved in the process helps other people feel like they have ownership over that. I see little girls to this day have a huge sense of pride going up and pointing, Mom, I did that piece. Or people posting to social media, I painted that one. So to me, that's the best part of it all.
That's incredible. Let's go over some of your credits. Your work has been featured in Essence, Observer, and Black Enterprise. What responsibility do you feel when stories from home reach global platforms?
I feel like the responsibility I have is to make sure that I'm telling these stories right and true as possible as can be. I know for those, they featured my UNESCO World Heritage mural. And I definitely did my research alongside working with local historians, as
You
well
went
as,
in.
yeah, no, I had to.
Yeah.
I had to. But even while creating on the mural, I had elderly in the community come up to me and be like, I was there when that was built, or this is how it went down. So telling the truth is the main thing, or as close to it as possible, because a lot of it I wasn't there for. And making sure I not only include the things that were published or written in book, but also take into consideration what are the stories that just us Bermudians are passing on to each other. So I would say is also like to make sure that Bermuda's getting the most true, correct, but positive light possible. Like with this amazing, colorful place for amazing, colorful people. So I want to make sure that when I am creating outside of our shores, that story is being told.
Shout out to you for bridging those generational gaps.
Yeah.
As well, like through your story,
Yeah.
through your art. As far as leadership goes, as an educator, what do young creators need most, in your opinion? Is it skill, confidence, or access?
I would say what young people need most is a safe space to express themselves. I think once you have that space established, you're able to identify who you want to be. You're able to identify what your personality is, who you want to be in this world. And I feel like once you have a beat on that, then you can start to get into the skills and things like that. But yeah, I think children need a bit of all of it. They need people that they can look up to and aspire to, and be influenced by. They definitely need access to resources and materials. I think in Bermuda, yeah, having the ability to say, this week I feel like trying out a sculpture, or maybe this week I'm dabbling on the iPad or woodworking, whatever. They need space to be able to explore all of those things, but they need exposure to the creatives that have come before them to show them what's possible and what could be.
Outside of your brother, did you have people that inspired you locally growing up?
I would say throughout that time, or I guess when I begun creating, I was definitely more inspired by overseas pop art. I know growing up, I definitely looked at different artists like Sharon Mohammed, Otto Trott, like those were the creatives that were creating in that time frame. Also, we had April Branco, like different creatives that were already doing it. But for me, I leaned a bit more towards pop art or just the idea of branding, advertising, more commercial things. So I was looking at people like Annie Leibovitz, who's a photographer overseas. I was looking at Ron English, who's a muralist. And yeah, definitely like the Andy Warhol types. So I would say an influence of everything during that time.
As far as Andy Warhol goes, was his pop art what stood out to you the most?
What stood out to me was his ability to blend the pop art with the commercialized world. For example, I think there's always this idea, well, I have this notion, well, no, art should be accessible, full stop. So even in terms of like looking at fashion industry, when different fabrics changed, when jersey was introduced, and how that changed accessibility of finer things to people, right? It was low cost, but it looks great. So everybody was allowed to have a piece of that. I think I was more into that idea of everybody being able to have a piece of something that's amazing and is still affordable. So
I love it. You became chair of the Bermuda Arts Council. How did stepping into leadership change how you view responsibility within the creative ecosystem?
So stepping into the leadership role made me realize that if you're going to say something, do it, but also do it from your heart. I think oftentimes when someone's building something from scratch or foundationally, a lot of it is dirty work. A lot of it is getting your hands messy, having tough conversations. So I think if you are in a leadership role, you just absolutely have to be passionate about why you're stepping into that role and why. Like I said, I think for me, stepping into the role of chair for the Bermuda Arts Council, I just envisioned younger me that saw my brother so talented, but needed access to more materials, needed access to more resources, needed a broader network. So I've always been inspired by watching him to see how could I help? What could I do? So stepping into that role, especially as chair, allowed me to do that for more than just my brother. Since being chair, I've made a few differences. I think my biggest point that I make is making sure that it's accessible. Everybody should feel like they can access these grants, access council funds. It should be a simplified experience to apply for grants. It shouldn't be something that people feel like they have to go through hurdles for. Because it's also understanding who you're working for. I'm working for creatives, and we all know how creatives are. So
I do.
When you're able to do that, you can serve people the best you possibly can. So definitely streamlining and digitizing our grant system was a big part of it. Now I'm kind of interested in seeing how we can make more of an international impact. And also making sure more art materials are accessible in Bermuda. So all of those things I'm definitely interested in. But yeah, it's my passion. And I feel like I'm lucky because they just help me to see my value and my purpose. So
With what you spoke about international impact, how do you ensure culture isn't diluted when presented on a global scale?
So I would say the way that I make sure it's not diluted is definitely showcasing the things that make Bermuda unique. I recently was having a conversation and I told people, I said, the reason that people from overseas come to Bermuda is that they're more interested in what we do different than the rest of the world. So I think as long as you're highlighting and showcasing what we do different, what is truly ours, I think you have no other choice but to deliver an authentic experience.
I love that. So I have some fun facts for you. Tell me if these are true or false.
Oh no. Ha.
Don't worry, nothing crazy.
Okay.
As a kid, you were really good at MX versus ATV Unplugged.
Unleashed. And yes, to this day, I am still the best.
Mm.
Still the best. Yes.
You're the most ticklish person on earth.
Horribly. So yeah.
I heard there was someone like guys like
That's crazy.
you just start to give.
That's crazy.
So I guess that's true.
Yeah, or even like coming close, I can't stand it. It makes my flash girl. So yeah.
My apologies. Not my intention.
I'm
Not here to make women feel uncomfortable.
I'm all right. That's wild.
That is funny. You love SpongeBob.
Yes,
You
I
give
do.
off SpongeBob energy.
Oh my God. Probably influenced my work tenfold.
What does SpongeBob energy even mean?
He's this little light, like everywhere he goes, he's happy and bubbly. He can't be knocked down. He can't be deterred. In a bad situation, he makes the best of it. I'm sounding too much like a true SpongeBob fan right now, but it is what it is.
Yes. It's
So,
okay.
yeah, I don't know. He's ready. Like,
They're all inspired by something. So that's dope.
Yeah.
Your favorite color is orange.
Definitely orange.
With that, is orange a color palette that you use frequently within your murals, art at all?
I do, yeah. So surprisingly, I prefer orange to red, but I just feel like it's a bright color, it's a bubbly, energetic color. So that's why I was kind of like drawn to it. Not the burnt ones, like the vibrant. Like I like the flowers around us, like vibrant.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It fits your personality too.
Oh, thank you. And they remind me of the bird of paradise, which is one of my favorite flowers. So, yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. You randomly met Steve Carell while he was in Bermuda.
Yes.
Please tell me about that. I
met Steve Carell. He was on a bike tour with Kristen White, her history tour, and I was on a Padago bike, and we both had the same thing, and he was delivering his and I was delivering mine. And I looked and I said, I know that nose. Like, it's crazy because I was like, ain't no way I know that nose. So then I went up to him. I said, are you that guy? And then in his voice, like just like you were in the office and all of that, I was like, yeah, I'm that guy. But then Kristen introduced me as like a local celebrity. And I'm like, girl, like, So then I was like, now that she's introduced me like this, can I ask for a picture?
That is funny. Shout out to Kristen.
If Steve comes back, I definitely want to take a picture with him. But then
you didn't take the picture?
No, I know, Shanna, no. Like, because I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. There's a lot. But me, because I'm like, I'm gonna get through one way or another. So then I made like a little digital drawing of him with some like flowers, like Bermuda flowers. And then I might have found out where he was staying in Bermuda. I think it was somewhere in our conversation. So I look like less of a creep. I'm not a creep. But, and then I had him delivered and I was like, hey, like this is for you. So, but I still need my selfie.
I'm sure you'll get it.
Jeez Louise.
Last fun question. I hear you have this notorious pair of pink track pants.
I do?
Yes. They have a flower print all over them.
Oh.
People were wondering when you were going to put them up for sale.
Listen. I'm currently working on the product line as we speak. So yeah, I'm known for my, not mine, the Bermudiana flower, which is Bermuda's flower. And I'm recently like trying to incorporate that more. But yeah, those pants, it was a bright pink pair of pants that are just playful and colorful and covered in the Bermudiana flowers. So keep an eye out. They're coming.
I will. Yeah, hopefully you make some pairs for bed.
Well, yeah, maybe.
All right, I'm looking out for them. Final question. If a young creative was watching right now, talented but unsure, what's one piece of wisdom you've earned that could help them move forward with confidence?
I think, again, it just goes back to just do it. I would say do not be deterred by no. Do not be deterred by like maybe mushed up faces. Everybody has to start somewhere. I know for me, that was like the brutal critiques in college and things like that. But everybody starts somewhere. The first thing you put out might not always be a perfect thing. So just start and don't be afraid of what people say. Someone's always going to love what you do. Someone's always going to question it. And you just have to be okay with that. But be true to yourself. Be true to your passion. And yeah.
Is that what you tell your students?
That's what I tell my students. Actually, in my class, it's funny because I just switched classes with someone. And she said, Shanna, they were so quiet. She's like, but with you, they're like a hot mess. Like they're loud. So I'm like, I always kind of just encourage kids to be wild and be true. And then I guess a little bit, like that too. So then it comes out. But yeah, like in my class, you have no choice but to just be free.
I love it.
Yeah.
And kids need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for your honesty today. Thank you for your creativity and your commitment to community building.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I look forward to just continuing to see the incredible things that you're doing.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Ta-da!
We did it.
We did it.
Woo!